All right, we're now getting a closer look at that massive 100-car pileup along a Michigan highway. I mean, look at this right here. It's wild. We have on-the-ground views right here. That huge wreck happening in brutal whiteout conditions. Now, it all happened about 24 miles southwest of Grand Rapids, and the aerials are just extraordinary. Look at this. It goes on and on and on. Police are working to clear the scene, which includes multiple jackknifed semi-trucks. And at least 9 people are injured. All have been taken to area hospitals, and authorities are urging people not to travel if at all possible. For more on this, CNN meteorologist Chris Warren joins us now. Tell us, what are conditions like right now? That looks so bad.
And Danny, you wonder how that can happen. Seeing that, this is how that can happen. The visibility as you're driving on snow, which is hard enough to stop anyways. Your visibility down to next to nothing, and then there's a stopped vehicle in the middle of the road. That's how these big pileups can and unfortunately do happen. We see them over and over again. And oftentimes it's just driving along, conditions seem fine, and then you hit these snow bands. So going from essentially like clear conditions to boom, big time snow, and expecting still some lake effect snow here in the coming hours and even days. Darker purple is where you can have that near whiteout conditions at times. Winter storm warning still posted. When the next system comes through, adding to the lake effect snow here, some of the snow downwind of the Great Lakes will be measured to several inches, a foot, maybe a foot and a half. So not quite in feet, but a foot or more. About 70% of the U.S. population will have temperatures below freezing, feeling even colder than that. By tomorrow morning, it's going to feel like 20 below in Minneapolis. Temperatures staying quite chilly from South Dakota to Maine and then to the south. This right here is a look at what is at least possible within the realm of possibilities. The European forecast model, the American GFS model, Danny, both showing at least the potential at this point, still, several days away, but snow and ice in the south, this could be a big deal.
And I got to say, back to the Midwest, no one knows how to drive in snow better than people from Michigan, so it's bad if it's looking like that. All right, Chris Warren, thanks so much. Erica?
Danny, thanks. Joining us now, Captain Jake Sparks of the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office. Captain, thank you for taking the time to walk us through. I know you have a lot going on, of course, in this moment. In terms of the pileup, just where things stand right now, we had heard 9 people injured. Has that number risen at all?
That number is up to 10 at this point, so I can tell you that of the 10 people that have been injured, they're all minor injuries, which we're very grateful for. There were no fatalities and no major injuries. They've all been transported to area hospitals now via ambulance. In addition, there's about 25 people that we were able to get on buses, and they were motorists that were stranded in the area, and they were safely transported to an area high school so that they can reunify with the family and friends to get rides out of the area.
These pictures, I mean, they're really something when we look at it, and it is remarkable that, just 10 minor injuries. People very understandably grateful and thankful for that in this moment. If we're talking about 100 vehicles, can you just put into perspective for folks who are not from the area, how long is that stretch, right? How many miles are we talking about here? And what is this area like? I know you mentioned getting some people to a place where then they could maybe get a ride from somebody. How easy is it to get to or not to help these stranded motorists?
Right. Well, that was very difficult, and that's part of the initial response. The deputies out there on scene, assisted by the Michigan State Police as well as the local police departments around us, were able to shut down both directions of the highway, and that allowed them to get buses and ambulances lined up and tow trucks lined up on the opposite direction portion of the highway to remove vehicles, remove patients, and then ultimately remove some of those stranded motorists. So it's about a 5-mile stretch of highway that's closed down there between the Hudsonville area and the Zeeland area.
One driver who was involved telling us that people in this person's experience, they were going kind of slow, but people seem to be really paying attention. I would imagine that is probably part of the reason, right, that we are not seeing more injuries, is that people were driving and were pretty aware in the moment.
Right. I can't speak to that or to how the crash initially began. But we believe what happened is that a vehicle struck a semi-truck, a tractor trailer. That then set off a chain reaction. I can tell you that a couple dozen tractor trailers were involved in this incident, included in the 100 vehicles that were involved. And even if the speeds are low, when your visibility goes down because of the blowing snow, you have very little reaction time, and so that's what can lead to these chain reaction type of crashes.
Yeah. How long do you anticipate that this 5-mile stretch will remain closed?
I can tell you my latest update shortly after 2 p.m. was that we were over 50% clear. Most of the vehicles had been moved out of the area, but I expect it'll be a couple hours that will remain on scene, moving people and any remaining motorists out of that area.
You mentioned how quickly things can change, how quickly visibility can change. What is your message to drivers in this moment? Not just where you are, but frankly, people watching from all around the country now who will be dealing with a lot of winter weather. What would you tell them on the heels of this?
Right. I'd say that a lot of times people think that they are safe drivers, and so they think that the weather conditions don't affect them. But I would just say that you can't control what other drivers are doing, first of all. And when you have limited visibility coupled with limited stopping distance because of snowy or icy roads, there's truly nothing you can do sometimes to prevent a crash. So even if you believe that you're a safe driver, you know, circumstances around you could still lead to a crash. And I would encourage the public, unless you have somewhere that you must be and it's an emergency for you to have a necessary travel, that you stay off the roadway until this weather system passes.
Captain Jake Sparks, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Danny?